sight of starlings.
This is from our You Have to Love Nature file. A wildlife worker at a nature reserve near Doncaster, England, captured this video of a huge flock of starlings swooping and swirling in the sky. Known as murmurations, these formations happen daily around the time the sun goes down, although changes in local weather mean there's no guarantee of witnessing the spectacular sight. Starlings show this behavior before they roost for the night for many reasons, including finding safety from predators and exchanging information. So what'd you do today?
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, it
isn't
really
it?
is. It is spectacular.
Wow.
All right, that's our time. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here again tomorrow. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Right now at 5, The Nation, remembering the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., how Madison is honoring him.
Facebook posts by multiple Baraboo women about being followed are prompting a police response.
And a power outage at the Dane County Regional Airport caused delays. We'll tell you what was the cause of that outage.
This is News 3 at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3. Events across the area celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Along with honoring his accomplishments, people in Madison are using this MLK Day as inspiration to continue the fight against injustices that still exist. Our Madeline O'Neill is here to explain. Maddie?
Hi, guys. Well, Wisconsin is the most segregated state in the country, according to a recent Wallet Hub report. That's in terms of the disparities between white and black residents in areas like wealth, employment, and education. So while today's tribute at the Capitol was a celebration of Dr. King's contributions to how far we've come, there's still a ways to go.
Come on, everybody, put your hands together. Let's have a little party up in here.
It means progress. It means forward movement.
No matter the reason for attending this tribute.
My wife is singing in the choirs.
They all lead back to one man.
A day of service and remembrance of the past.
The activist whom this holiday is all about.
You are here today to keep the Martin Luther King Jr. ideals alive.
I think that, a lot of people can take this as a day off. We see it as a day of service.
Gail Ford is part of the Madison alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, a sorority heavily involved in social action and civil rights issues. Knowing the state she calls home is considered by one study to be the most segregated in the country is fuel for action.
It's heartbreaking to hear. Even with all of these folks out here today, it still proves we have a lot of work to be done, especially around issues of education, voter suppression, economic empowerment, and income inequality. The housing epidemic in Madison is really big.
If Dr. King was living right now, what would he say about the state of Wisconsin? I say it's an emergency. I say he would say it's a call to action.
Representative Sheila Stubbs, the first black person from Dane County in the Wisconsin legislature, wants to continue Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy here in the state.
We cannot continue to look backwards, but we must actually address daunting disparities.
While Stubbs says much of what King fought for 50 years ago still exists here today.
Moving forward, that's our motto forward.
So can his legendary dream.
Systemic issues have led us here, but with a pen, we can certainly reverse some of these inequities.
Have a great MLK Day. Let's keep it moving forward.
The Overture Center is also holding an MLK program today at no cost. The keynote speaker is the daughter of Reverend Oliver L. Brown, who filed the famous suit against the Board of Education. That starts tonight at 6.
A moving day of service today.
Sure is.
Thank you, Maddie.
You're welcome.
Students, alums, and community members were joined by a special guest at Union South today to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, the second African-American to be elected to a statewide office, delivered the keynote address. He spoke about the need to make progress in areas including incarceration and education. Although he was just sworn in 2 weeks ago today, Barnes noted that it's more about making a difference than just getting elected.
The work that we do is incumbent upon, having the support of people across the state. And that means young people. That means people of color, diverse communities who haven't always had their voices represented or heard in government. And it's time to change that.
The event also had social social justice dialogues and a food drive benefiting the Open Seat, which is a food pantry for UW-Madison students.
President Trump made a visit to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial on the National Mall today in recognition of the holiday, honoring the civil rights icon. President Trump laid a wreath at the foot of the memorial. He was joined by Vice President Mike Pence. The president tweeted a longer message to honor Dr. King earlier in the day.
All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti on our chilly backyard weather patio. Gary?
Boy, we're looking at the potential for another winter storm for tomorrow, and followed by some of the coldest air we've seen in quite some time at the end of the week. Let's start out by taking a look at alert days. One for tomorrow for occasional snow that will develop from tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. About 3 to 7 inches of accumulation at the heaviest totals just north and west of Madison, but there also could be some freezing rain for areas south of Madison. Then we also have alert days in the forecast for Friday and Saturday for bitterly cold temperatures that will drop to between 5 and 10 below zero in the morning, with wind chills as cold as 25 to 35 below zero. Daytime high temperatures in the single digits above zero, and wind chills staying below zero all day. On Doppler track, some light snow up to our north, some of that not reaching the ground, but we'll see some flurries or some patchy freezing drizzle late tonight. Most of the accumulating snow will be tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night, and again, about 4 to 7 inches expected north and west of Madison, with lesser amounts to the south. Winter storm warnings already in effect west of Lone Rock. Winter storm watch still in effect for Dane County and areas to the north and east, and then winter weather advisories to the south. Low temperatures this morning, we dropped to 14 below zero here in Madison. Lone Rock was down to 24 below zero. High temperatures so far in the teens, and we're near current temperatures in the middle teens, but winds are still pretty brisk. They're out of the southeast at about 15 to 25 miles per hour, so wind chills are dropping to below zero, even though temperatures are still well into the teens. And by tomorrow morning, those temperatures will actually rise a little bit as snow develops either by late tonight or early tomorrow morning. The best chances for snow tomorrow afternoon with a high of 30, but again, there could be some freezing rain south of Madison. Later on, we'll tell you about how cold we expect it to get at the end of the week.
Gary, thank you. Police in Baraboo are urging the community to be aware of their surroundings after multiple women took to Facebook to tell their stories of being followed while shopping.
Police want to make sure that people know what human trafficking is and where it usually happens. Amanda Quintana is in the studio with more. Amanda?
Yes, Baraboo Police Chief Mark Schaaf says although only one woman has come forward to make an official police report today, he could tell there was a fear in the community before that, and he wanted to address it. The original Facebook post last week claimed 2 well-dressed men in their 30s or 40s were following a woman around Walmart. She was so scared she asked an employee to walk her to her car. Now that post quickly was shared. Schaaf says if you notice something like this, tell someone.
We know those things are happening. And it's our job as the police to investigate them, but it's everybody's job as a society to realize that these bad things happen and to make sure that people are paying attention and doing things to reduce their vulnerability.
He says the details of the Jamie Kloss case could be causing parents to be more fearful of abductions, but human trafficking happens more online than it does in public places like stores where there are cameras. Stranger abductions are very rare, as are sexual assault by a stranger. Of course, it is always best to pay attention when you're out, keep your purse and your money nearby, and if you see something suspicious, always tell police. At 6, we will hear from the woman who says she was followed at Walmart this weekend and reported it to police. Why she wants parents to know about this.
We will see you at 6. Thanks, Amanda.
One person is dead after a crash involving a bus in Sauk County. The Sauk County Sheriff's Office responded to a 2-vehicle accident. County Highway BD, just south of North Reedsburg Road in the township of Delton. This was about 6:30 this morning. Officials say a school bus was traveling north with an SUV turned onto Highway BD and then was hit by the bus. The driver of the SUV was pronounced dead at the scene. No children were on that bus at the time of the crash.
Madison police are investigating who fired shots into an East Side home late Sunday night. Police say they were called to the 4000 block of Clare Street just before midnight after several calls about shots being fired in the area. A man and a pregnant woman were watching TV in their living room when multiple shots were fired into their home. Police say at least 2 bullets came through a picture window and traveled through the living room and into a back wall. The man was hit with flying glass but was not injured. The pregnant woman also was not hurt, and we'll hear from that woman coming up tonight on News 3 at 6.
A driver was injured this morning after a vehicle went into a river in Columbia County. A dispatcher there says the vehicle that was driving on Cascade Mountain Road in Portage near Fox Glen Road failed to navigate the corner, went into the Baraboo River. The female driver was taken out of the vehicle after it was removed from the river and then transported to a Portage hospital.
It was a rough start to this Monday for thousands of people trying to fly this morning out of Dane County.
It was a perfect storm after a power outage that was triggered by the extreme cold, and a generator failed to bring those lights back on. Our Josh Sprider was there to capture it all.
An estimated 1,500 people were at the Dane County Regional Airport dark and early Monday morning. And I'm not talking about outside, but inside the main terminal.
I was actually in the bathroom and then the lights went out.
The power went out at 5:18 a.m., leaving the airport pitch black. It was certainly a different experience for passengers like Isaiah Westfall, who was already through security at the time.
Then they got over the speaker and said that there was a delay, and now we're kind of just sitting and waiting.
Isaiah's family sat patiently with him as he waited to catch his flight back to college in California.
We apologize again for this inconvenience.
Passengers stayed in the dark as the airport's backup generator failed to bring the power back on. That's where we found Middleton native Mariah Quinn. She now lives with her husband and kids in Phoenix.
Well, the coffee place was open, so I was able to get coffee, so I'm good. And so far the batteries are good in their technology, so we're okay for now.
And then a moment of hope. The lights were back on nearly 3 hours later, around 8.
Now, once the power was restored, it was really only the beginning. All of those people that were already inside had to be screened again, and you couple that with all the people still waiting outside, it made for a long line.
That's a normal process. That's something that occurs in every airport when there's a potential for a security breach.
Airport officials say they didn't have any major challenges with TSA coming back on. They were able to expedite the security process with a full staff and other airport workers who were there to help out where needed.
As soon as the power came back up, you saw that we were sorting people based on destination and departure time. They were going to the front of the line.
And then for many anxious passengers, the long-awaited travel day was underway.
We were hoping to get back by 10 Phoenix time, but I don't think that's going to happen.
In Madison, Josh Sprider, WISC News 3.
MG&E released a statement after that outage saying, quote, the extreme cold weather triggered additional energy consumption at the airport, causing the outage. To prevent a recurrence, a setting within an MG&E control system has been adjusted to accommodate the additional energy use due to the extreme weather.
Odana Hills Golf Course has reopened for cross-country skiing and skate skiing. After the recent snowfall, staff members were able to groom the trails. The clubhouse is open, and it's offering skis and concessions. And the Elvers Snow Loop and sledding is also open and groomed as well. And the shelter is open for skiing, sledding, snowshoeing, and ice skate rentals are all available. So that's a good thing about the cold weather and the snow.
If you can handle the cold, the Lake Geneva ice castles can. They'll open Wednesday after being delayed several weeks due to warm weather. Organizers say the ice castles will open in time for Winterfest there. Now, this is the first year that this company, known as Ice Castles LLC, has built in Lake Geneva. They're made entirely from ice and feature tunnels, fountains, slides, frozen thrones, and cascading towers of ice embedded with color-changing LED lights, and tickets are now on sale.
A Platteville police officer is being commended for a rescue. According to a Facebook post by the department, Officer Matt Forsyth was checking out the blood moon last night along Highway 151 when he heard a kitten in a snowbank near the highway. The officer dug the kitten out of the snow and brought him back into his squad car to warm up. The department announced that Officer Forsyth has now adopted the kitty.
A relationship that was meant to be.
Yes.
More to come on News 3 at 5 up next. Day 31 now. The government shutdown. And there's still no end in sight. We'll have the latest from our nation's capital.
Another lawmaker announces she is running for president. We'll tell you who when we come back.
Welcome back. This year's Martin Luther King Jr. holiday is also the 31st day of the partial government shutdown.
Over the weekend, President Trump offered a proposal to end the impasse. The deal includes a 3-year extension for dreamers and recipients of temporary protected status in exchange for $5.7 billion to build a border wall. Democrats have already rejected it. Today on Twitter, President Trump is praising the economy and calling federal workers patriots. About 800,000 have been working without pay or furloughed for a month. Many of those federal workers are turning to food banks. On Sunday, 10% of TSA workers called in sick, leading to closures at some airports. Those impacted by the shutdown will miss a second full paycheck if the government is not reopened soon.
Another prominent Democrat has joined the 2020 presidential race. California Senator Kamala Harris made it official, announcing her presidential plans today. Harris, a former California Attorney General, elected to the U.S. Senate in 2016, joins a growing field of Democratic hopefuls.
Love my country, and I feel a sense of responsibility to stand up and fight for the best of who we are.
New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand announced her candidacy last week, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren launched her exploratory committee on New Year's Eve. Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard and former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Julian Castro announced they were running as well. There's a long list of big names still rumored to be considering a run, from former VP Joe Biden to Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey.
A group of white teenagers who were captured in a viral video appear to be taunting a Native American Vietnam veteran. Now both of those people are speaking out. The video shows teenagers wearing Make America Great Again hats who appear to be mocking the man, Nathan Phillips. Chaperones for the students say a third group, African American Hebrew Israelites, started it all by yelling hateful things at the students. Phillips says he saw the encounter and inserted himself between the two groups, hoping to calm the situation.
I just wanted to go out and look at my American country and see what's happening here. God, look at this.
Our boys were targeted. They were targeted from the get-go. Immediately, there were all these people running around filming.
Now, the teen in the video standing face to face with Phillips has been identified as Nick Sandman, and he insists his actions are being misinterpreted. He said in a written statement, "I believe that by remaining motionless and calm, I was helping to diffuse the situation. I said a silent prayer that the situation would not get out of hand."
All right, we turn now to weather. A more complete look at a forecast that includes snow coming our way, and the chill that's here now is going to stick around a while, Gary.
Yeah, it certainly will. In fact, it'll get even more intense as we head toward the end of the week. Let's start out by taking a look at alert days that we have in the forecast. One for tomorrow for occasional snow developing by tomorrow afternoon, about 3 to 7 inches of accumulation by early Wednesday morning. Heaviest snow will be in a band from around Prairie du Chien over to, Sauk City and up toward Beaver Dam. Lesser amounts to the south and east of Madison, where there might be some freezing rain mixed in for a time in the afternoon. Then we also have alert days in the forecast for Friday and Saturday for bitterly cold temperatures. Low temperatures dropping to around 10 below zero on Friday morning and around 5 to 10 below zero on Saturday morning. Wind chills by Friday morning could be as cold as 35 below zero and about 25 below zero on Saturday morning. Daytime high temperatures in the single digits will keep wind chills below zero all day. Winter storm warning already in effect for Richland, Crawford, and Grant counties from 6 a.m. tomorrow until midnight tomorrow night. And then from there eastward, we have a winter storm watch for Dane County and areas to the north and east. Winter weather advisories for areas south of Dane County from 9 a.m. tomorrow morning through 6 a.m. on Wednesday. There's the snow totals. Again, the heaviest band probably from around Prairie du Chien through Lone Rock to maybe as far north as Wisconsin Dells and then over toward the Fox Valley. Doppler track right now showing just a few flurries up to the north. The activity in southern Wisconsin probably not reaching the ground, but we could see some flurries or freezing drizzle later on tonight. Now here's what the computer models are showing. The European computer model showing about 4 inches in Madison, about 3 to 4 inches through much of southern Wisconsin, or that was actually the RPM model. The European model a little bit heavier, about 5 to 6 inches through the Madison area. Again, lesser amounts in southeastern Wisconsin. Take a look at the new GFS computer model showing even heavier snow totals. This one, assumes really no freezing rain at all, which seems a little bit unlikely, and has a colder temperature and the storm tracking a little farther south. Right now, that seems a little less likely, so we're kind of discounting that for the time being. Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing the cold sights. Our temperature right now, 14 degrees. The wind chill is at 1 degree below zero with brisk southeasterly winds. We dropped to 14 below zero last night in Madison. It was our coldest temperature since early February of last year. And low temperatures were in the teens and 20s below zero through much of the upper Midwest. Now, temperatures have rebounded thanks to southeasterly winds. They're in the mid-teens now, but wind chills make it feel about 15 to 20 degrees colder, right around zero. On Weather Track, you can see the storm system pretty much starting to come together to our south and to our west. The main area of low pressure is still sitting back in Colorado, but once it starts picking up some moisture, it'll draw it in our direction, and snow will start breaking out by early to mid-afternoon tomorrow. Temperatures range from the single digits up near Lake Superior to 50 in southeastern Kansas, so the storm has a pretty big temperature contrast to work with. So again, winter storm warnings, watches, and advisories for our entire viewing area into Wednesday morning. Low of 12 this evening, and temperatures steady or rising overnight. Some flurries or freezing drizzle late. Tomorrow, breezy with snow developing by afternoon. Could be mixing some freezing rain south of Madison with a high of 30. On Future Track, pretty quiet overnight. Maybe some flurries or freezing drizzle toward morning. Temperatures climbing into the mid-teens by morning. Tomorrow's high around 30 with occasional snow by afternoon. Could be mixing some freezing rain south of Madison. Snow will taper to flurries by late tomorrow night with lows in the upper teens. Then Wednesday, flurries will end early. We'll see some sunshine, but temperatures will stay around 20. And after that, again, the snowfall amounts 4 to 7 inches, mainly from Madison northward this time. 7 to 10 day forecast. Those temperatures just nosedive at the end of the week, down to near 10 below zero by Friday morning, and high temperatures only in the single digits. So accumulating snow from late Sunday into Monday, followed by another blast of bitterly cold air early next week. First alert traffic. Here's some good news. Things are actually pretty quiet out there. There's the DOT camera at Todd Drive showing traffic moving steadily in both directions. Just seeing a few minor slowdowns between Verona Road and Seminole Highway in the eastbound direction. But otherwise, traffic moving pretty steadily both ways on the Beltline. About a 15 to 16-minute trip between University Avenue and the interstate. Heading out of Madison, 26 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990, 18 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 16 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151 and East Washington Avenue. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Ahead at 5, why doctors say total rest after suffering a concussion is no longer recommended. That's after a short break. New findings on children and concussions show they experience symptoms longer than adults.
Now, a new study says too much rest may not be the best remedy. Mark Liverman explains.
15-year-old Grace Kamvakis has a mean spike, but volleyball has not always been her game. Grace grew up playing soccer. 3 years ago, she was hit in the head with a soccer ball 2 different times. Her concussion symptoms lasted 6 months.
Headaches, obviously, sensitivity to light, sensitivity to noise, dizziness. I couldn't use computers or anything.
She had a headache for a long time. It was very hard to watch that in your child.
Now, research in the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association finds children under 13 experience concussion symptoms much longer than older teens and adults.
Up to 4 weeks and longer than adults. Adults are more like 2 weeks.
Dr. Hallie Zweibel at New York Institute of Technology says total rest after suffering a concussion is no longer recommended, as long as symptoms don't return or get worse.
We found that more than 48 hours of strict rest has actually negative consequences. So getting children, adolescents, adults back in their activities, school, work, is actually producing better outcomes.
Researchers stress athletes should not compete if they are experiencing symptoms, and for lingering problems, vision and balance rehab can help. That's what got Grace back on her feet.
Obviously, I wanted to be on the field, but it's better to just sit out, get better.
She still worries about suffering another concussion, but says being able to use her hands playing volleyball makes her feel a bit safer. Mark Liverman, CBS News, Smithtown, New York.
The study also finds children with ADHD, depression, or anxiety may have concussion symptoms that last even longer.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
Watching another big storm on the way.
Yeah, snowfall amounts about the same, maybe a little less than the last one, but the snow will be stickier and wetter and probably harder to shovel. Maybe a few flurries, a little patchy freezing drizzle tonight. Nothing to worry about tonight, but the snow from tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow evening, about 4 to 7 inches north and west of Madison. A little lesser amounts to the south where some freezing rain may mix in. Winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, winter storm warnings in effect for our entire viewing area. And then look at the temperatures by Friday morning, down to 9 below zero with wind chills to 35 below. More Arctic air next week.
I'll see you in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6.